Commit to Wealth Nation, welcome to the Commit to Wealth podcast. I'm your host, Juan Vargas. On today's show, we have Robert Martinez. Robert is the founder and CEO of Rockstar Capital. Since 2011, he has directed the operations of Rockstar Capital and has grown it to over 3,000 units, valued at over $265 million. He has earned the National Apartment Association Independent Rental Owner of the Year Award, and under his leadership, Rockstar Capital, along with Rockstar Capital Management, have earned 14 city, state, and national apartment awards overall. Robert Martinez, welcome to the show.
Hey, man, I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Hey, thanks a lot for taking the time to make this happen. So, Robert, let's go ahead and get into this, and tell us a little bit about you. Tell us, who is Robert Martinez? Tell us your background, tell us your story, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I'm originally from the Rio Grande Valley, down in McAllen. Went to school at A&M. Got like everybody else, went to school and got a degree thinking I'm going to use it forever and ever. I have an engineering degree. I moved to Houston after college and got started in the oil and gas industry and realized, that didn't work out for me. I was just like everybody else trying to scratch by, kind of grind. I spent a lot of my times in my 20s and my early 30s grinding and realizing that, as a commission sales guy, you have to have the right environment to function in. And if that environment keeps changing on you, if the rules of engagement, the rules of compensation keeps changing on you, you never get past a certain point. And after a couple, 3 times of that happening, I realized I needed to do something different for myself. And I wound up joining a real estate company here in Houston, Lifestyles Unlimited. Had listened to them on the radio for a long time and decided I wanted to check it out. And it was pretty much the best decision of my life. I got introduced to real estate. I got introduced to how to operate real estate, how to operate apartment complexes. That was back in 2007. I started a management company with another member there. We ran that for 3 years. I was the operating officer. I ran over 2,000 units there. In 2011, it was time to go on my own way. Started Rockstar Capital Management with just one property, a little 118 unit deal. In a short time, we had another property. We just kind of went by one deal at a year, really cutting our teeth, really trying to understand the art of operations. And before long, we were winning awards, started recognizing that we were pretty good at this, and started just ramping up. And as we ramped up and bought more deals per year, 2 deals, 3 deals, 4 deals a year, we started to bring in additional staff, and that staff has really helped us a lot. I mean, the growth, you realize as an entrepreneur, you're wearing a lot of hats, and you can't truly grow unless you learn how to delegate, but you can't just give it away. You got to train. And I think one of the strengths that I have is people. I think I understand how people think. I understand, having been through corporate America, I understand, what everybody wants. And they just want a little financial freedom. They just want, a chance to grow somewhere and feel appreciated and know what the terms of their rules of engagement are and the rules of compensation are, and let everybody hit their goal. But they also need some mentorship and to be invested in. And so I'm just blessed and excited that, in our 7 years of operation at Rockstar Capital, we won 15 city, state, national awards, a lot of property of the year awards, a lot of individual awards. This year in Houston, we were recognized as number 15th in the city by the HBJ, Houston Business Journal, as the fastest growing company in Houston. Number 15 in the 4th largest city in the United States. And that's a credit to my team. Recently, we were honored with a best places to work. That's a survey that's run individually by our staff. So, that's an honor for me as the business owner, to know that we provide that kind of environment of opportunity. We're a very young company. We're very much like a startup. We have people that are in vice president roles, regional manager roles, that would not be there anywhere else. But in this company, it's a company of opportunity. It's a company of advancement and growth. And all it takes is some hard work and some grit, and we'll get through it. We'll get through it together.
Exactly. Yeah, man, I love the story. Robert, because you kind of resonate with everybody else. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, most of the people out there are in corporate America. They want that extra something. They want to, we've all been told the same thing, go to school, get a job, and go work for corporate America forever. And, and then you die. That's pretty much the life cycle, right? So that's the truth, but it's not until you start realizing that there's other options out there. And, you found this option, and you definitely have taken advantage of it and have made it a big business out of it, right? And you've impacted many lives in the same process. Not only your employees, but also the tenants, on the property. So tell us, real quick before we get into like the details, tell us real quick what has been the biggest factor to grow into this size and to winning, 15 now, 15, overall awards. What do you think that has been?
The secret sauce is your team. You got to invest in your team. You got to sit down with them. You got to understand what they want and help them get what they want. You do, whether it's compensation, whether it's recognition, whether it's mentorship and personal growth. I mean, I've helped people buy their first car, their first home. In some cases, they're investors in our apartment deals. Just growing to that size, help them grow themselves. Help them, teach them how to fish. Really, instead of just give them the fish. It's been great. I've got a great core group, of our company, and that's the secret sauce. But again, the next bit is being able to continue to mentor, continue to advance, recognizing that everybody just needs a helping hand. And if you can give that helping hand, it means the world to them. A 5 minutes with you, 10 minutes with you, 15 minutes with you, a little extra bonus, a little extra this and that, may not mean as much to you, but to them, it's everything. It helps them get to that next level. I remember growing up, I had somebody help me a couple, 3 times along the way where they had not helped me that small little advance, it was small to them, but to me, it meant everything. And I remember that. I remember how much it meant to me. And so I think when you surround yourself with people that want to be there with you, that you've helped, they want to help you grow. They want to give back, and so it's been a really, really beneficial thing. But how we've changed lives, I mean, certainly with our investors, I mean, gosh, we've done really, really well. I mean, we've got 11 100% refinance events. I mean, that means they invest with us. In 3-year period, we're not only through cash flow and a giant refinance event, giving them all their money back. Well, I mean, how does that change their life? They go redeploy it and redeploy it and redeploy it. Yesterday we launched our first video log or video podcast similar to this called the Rockstar Advantage. That'll be hopefully dropping today on YouTube. We had one of our early investors who's a digital marketing expert as well. She must be in 8 deals with me, and she's sitting there comfortably. She's not grinding behind a desk. She sit there because she had the courage to invest with us, back in 2013. And here we are, 5 years later. She's in a multiple number of deals that just pay her cash flow and passive returns. And she says none of her friends believe her that she gets a quarterly check every month, or I'm sorry, every quarter, it's like, it's just an amazing thing. And then for our investors, for the residents, I have a lot of pride in what we do. Nobody has more pride in what they do than me. I don't like to lose. It's all about winning for me. If I'm not winning, I'm not happy. I don't feel good about it. I don't feel like we're putting a quality product, and I'm going to tinker with it until we get something there. And the way you're winning is renewals. The way you're winning, because like all the money you make in real estate happens when somebody renews, not when they move in, right? So you got to figure out the right strategy, the right business model to make sure that they're happy and that they renew with you. And I'm really happy that among management companies our size across the country, we have the number 2 resident satisfaction above all. I've got 4 properties that were ranked in the top 1% in overall resident satisfaction per J Turner Research. That means reviews, that means Facebook, Google, apartmentratings.com, any site where they can go. And, in today's world, you've got social media, you've got every avenue for them to have a voice. You got to pay attention and you got to read. I'm really fortunate that I have an email system set up where every single review, every single time our property receives a review, I read it. I read every one, and so does my VP, and so does the entire management team. And we look at that, and they know they're going to get an email from me because that's how I keep my pulse on the business. It's really easy. The 5-star reviews that we're getting, the most successful properties. The 1, 2, 3-star reviews, the least successful properties, right? So it gives me a chance to figure out what's going on, figure out understanding where the issues are, attack the issue, because that's all people want. They just want to be heard. And more often than not, they'll go and you fix their problem, they'll drop that review off. And that's how you get your reviews, because everybody's going online. Nobody's showing up on a Saturday morning and touring 10 apartment deals and saying, where am I going to live this for the next 12, 18 months or wherever, right? Nobody wants to move either. So it's a very careful decision. Well, they're going online now. I mean, they have this now. They don't need to go on a Saturday and shop. They don't need a book. They go online, and it's a story that they see. What are they going to see? Are they going to see positivity? Are they going to see good reviews? Are they going to see bad reviews? Are they going to see any video? Are they going to see pictures? How is the presentation? If it doesn't look good there, why should they go? And so our job is to make sure that our residents or prospective residents see what they need to see, so they give us a chance so we can make that cut on a Saturday morning, because they're going to go to 2. And chances are the number 1 is where they really want to go. And number 2 is the backup. So we got to make that cut and get into number 1. And we got to take care of our existing residents. And so reviews and reputation management are the biggest ways for us to make sure that we take care of them and they continue to renew and help us, feed the supply moving forward.
Man, I love that, man. That's awesome. I love that you have that your pulse, like you mentioned. You're like pretty much hands on. You're not like somebody that's CEO of a company and you just step out and you're gone. You're pretty much hands on. You're reading these reviews and you're looking to see what's going on and you're taking care of those issues. Right then and there. And hopefully they can also drop those reviews. But you're doing it, man. You're making it happen. I really like that, and I really like that you mentioned using your team. Your team is everything. And so, that's true. In multifamily business, I mean, your team, it makes or breaks your business, so I really love that as well. So Robert, what, I know that you're in the Houston market, and, this show, we're more national, and even worldwide. So, tell us about the Houston market. So, others around, the nation can know a little bit about the market, because this is the majority of where you're at, right? So tell us a little bit about Houston.
Houston, I think you've got a tale of two worlds. You got a lot of peacetime generals out there that have not seen the crap hit the fan, and you have the wartime generals that are just waiting for that to happen. It's a good submarket. It's a good market overall. Job growth is there, but unlike Houston or San Antonio, we've had our ups and downs. But that's where the strength is. I would not want to be in Dallas over the last 5 years and not have gone through that, because you don't get better. You get better through the lessons of failure. Not through the just constantly, the harbor's full and all boats are going to float. Dude, one day that changes. And if you're not ready and you're buying deals and you don't learn how to operate, necessity is the mother of invention. You got to fail, because all the lessons in life are when you fail, all of them. And because that's where you learn to overcome. That's where you learn to find the solution. We're not perfect. We have our issues, but it's okay, because that's going to make us better for tomorrow. I'm not playing for today. I'm playing for 5, 10, 20 years. It's my duty to succeed. It's my duty for this company to be around for not only myself, my children, but also for my staff, also for the residents, also for future people coming around, but I've got to learn those lessons now. And with those lessons, I got to learn them. I got to teach them to my team and explain what I just saw, what we experienced. Most recently in Houston, we've gone through the Hurricane Harvey, hangover. It was for a period of time from 2014 to 2016, 2017, you had this massive ramp up of apartments, of new development. And it was based on 2012, 2013, oil being $100 a barrel. We had a deal that we bought in 2014 where the underwriting was at $100 a barrel. When we closed in September, it was down to $60, $70 a barrel. By December of that year, it was down to $30 a barrel. We were hurting. So when that happens, jobs leave, right? And you've got to learn how to operate against these better, more equipped, better funded deals. And that's where I credit some of the social media stuff that we're doing today, is that I had to go through those lessons. I had to understand that everybody has a brand, but some are more well-known than others. And so you just have to make sure that you develop. Without those lessons, man, you don't learn. I'm better equipped. I can take those lessons at that A market and take them down to my B and C market. In some cases, I'll be ahead of the curve. But when those residents get used to this a little bit more and more, like some of the B residents do, we're going to be in a great position. But that doesn't happen unless you fail. It doesn't happen unless you experience a little bit of turbulence, a little bit of tribulation, a little bit of issues. You got to go through life making mistakes, you're going through your bumps and bruises, and you're not going to get every decision right. Don't be afraid to fail. You've got to go through it, and you've got to understand it. So, I think as a company, we're well equipped to handle the Houston market. You got a lot of these companies right now that are struggling, that, it's a slow time right now in December already. And then you got all these people that are moving back, into their homes after Hurricane Harvey destroyed them. Insurance has repaired them. They're moving out of their apartment complex, and then everybody's fighting for a shrinking market supply. It'll get better when the spring comes around, but all those apartments that got quickly absorbed a year ago are now back on the market. Fortunately, there's not a new supply coming in, right? It's a much more diminished amount coming in. So job growth is good, though. They're going to eat them up. We're backed up to 70, 80,000 jobs a year. That's a really good number compared to negative job growth or 14,000 job growth. Yeah.
So overall, I guess you would say that, we have some of those become vacant a little bit, right? So because, a lot of those, a lot of the ones that were flooded are back, open and ready to be rented. So yes. What you're saying is, we're having this big job growth, and they're going to be absorbed. Is what you're saying? They're going to go be absorbed over time. So what do you see?
What happened during Hurricane Harvey is that you absorbed all of them in a very quick amount of time. You took people out of homes and put them into apartments that they were not traditional apartment dwellers. And now they're coming out of their apartments and going back to the rent house maybe that they were in, or somebody else's rent house, you know, or going back into their permanent, you know, house that through insurance, they've got to repair it now. So we've got job growth that have eaten up some of that, right? But we're still, you know, I think the cities are around 89, 90% occupancy as opposed to maybe somewhere like Dallas. But you know what? I'd rather be there and learn those lessons. We'll get back to 94, 95. I'm not worried about that. But if we go down further, we're more equipped to handle those that turmoil than others are.
That's interesting that you mentioned Dallas, though, because Dallas has been like crazy growing,
On
like
fire.
on fire, you know. And you know, if you invested, you know, back in, you know, or you acquired a property back in 2011, 2012, you know, chances are, you know, you could just be a mediocre operator and you still manage to.
Peacetime general.
Yeah, yeah. So the market pretty much just guided you. It just lifted you, right? The market itself, you know, versus, you know, operational, you know. That's the way, you know, I mean, obviously you have to have your pulse on the properties and your operations, you know, but, you know, you can be a mediocre, you know, guy and still make out, you know, pretty good, versus, you know, a Houston where you really have to be more involved and know what's going on, because it's more prone to ups and downs, you know. And like you mentioned, the oil, you know, oil and gas, you know, so Hurricane Harvey, you know, so, you know, things like that. So that's a good point that you brought up. So
Think about it. Maybe if it's not broken, you don't fix it, right?
So you got to find a way
fix it, you don't get better. And so you just ride the wave until the wave's over. And then what are you going to do, right? Then it goes back to what you know, what your gut is, and your team. And you get no team development when things are good. You find out who your winners and your players are when things are tough. You know, we just had our Christmas party this year, and we like to give out a lot of awards. I think it's an easy way to show people that you don't get to see on a regular basis, especially me now. I mean, we're at 3,000 units. I've got number 19 coming in January, you know, and it's like, I can't be everywhere at all time, but I can see the numbers. I can read and interpret numbers, and I know who my consistent performers are. And to give those awards out means the world to them, but also helps me understand, wow, who my winners are, who the soldiers are, who the people I want to go to battle with are, right? And I told them straight up, I go, look, right here, this award, this, you know, compensation increases come in April. You show this. You show this is your award. You show this. You go get the best you can, because I'm not going to lose those peeps. I can't. I need them. That's what you need. You got to build that team. You got to build that army. And the best way you show them is compensate them with what they need to move forward so they can do it again. That's how you grow. Consistency of team. And so, you know, half of those awards were won by new people that weren't with us 2 years ago. That's exciting to me. I don't want the same people winning awards anymore. I want them getting promoted and I've been eligible to win awards. I want new people winning the awards. I want them to, because that's who you're going to build on with tomorrow.
Yeah, that's outstanding, man. Because, you know, I've interviewed a bunch of people on the show, and, you know, we have, you know, discussed teams, but, you know, not on the level that you're talking about it. And so it just goes to show that, you know, team and your folks on your team, you know, mean that much to you, you know. So it's exciting to hear that. Yeah, they're everything, you know. They're gonna make and break you, you know, that like we said earlier. So that's some good stuff. So
you have to never forget, you're the business owner. You can't ever expect them to work as hard as you, to care as much as you. It's just not. It's not feasible, and it's not rational, and it's really not fair. It's just not. So you have to go and give them. That's your work family. Treat them like family. Treat them like you're going to go through that burning building with them, and you're going to pull them out. And they know that. They know you're not going to leave them behind. And once they get that, man, we're all on the same page pulling forward. I mean, I've had dinners, lunches, after hours events. I mean, it's just what we do. It's we work together. We get to the top of the mountain together. Nobody wants to get to the top of the mountain by themselves. I'm going to get there. I know I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I don't want to have nobody in there next to me to tell the stories with. Nobody there to not be able to share how we got here, you know, and not be able. So what we've done recently, we've actually hired a full-time videographer that's following us around and documenting our journey, documenting how we're getting to, you know, in 10 years, we're going to be at a certain place. Well, where were we 10 years ago, right? What issues did we overcome? What were our discussion points? How did we overcome it? And be able to look back on that for not only posterity, but also for our children, also to be able to reflect, man, look how we thought that was the biggest problem in the world. The answer just came to us.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it is. That's how you grow. You grow through that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I like that. I really like that, because, you know, you're able to reflect back, you know, on your challenges, you know, 5-10 years ago. And then, like you said, you know, that's nothing. That's going to be nothing. It really is going to be like that. Watch. So you're looking at Houston, Robert, you know, what other markets are you looking at just besides Houston, or are you just doing Houston?
There are some parts of Houston we have not explored. I'm not very strong on the east, on the coastal side, primarily because I didn't want to deal with property flood insurance.
Flooding.
We have expanded into some coastal markets recently. I've got 2 deals that's in a coastal market. I've got that third deal in that market that's come in January. And then there's other coastal markets that around Houston that I've not hit, that I think we will hit. I do believe this will be the year that we go outside of greater Houston. I haven't felt the need to drive. I haven't felt the need to do it. I think you've got to really have your operations down when you expand into a market that's a plane ride or a 3 to 4 hour drive away. I think there's still enough opportunity right now for us, but I do believe by the end of next year, we'll be in Dallas or San Antonio. We dabbled with it in San Antonio at the end of this year, and we were going to buy a deal, and it just had so many fleas on it that we're like, wow, okay, if we get into a new market, we're going to have to buy a deal that's very stable. And it may not have the full meat that we're used to kind of finding through a value add. It's going to give us a good base of operations. And it needs to be a large enough deal, not a 100 unit or 150. It's going to have to be a 250, 300 unit deal that we have a reason to be there with more regularity, a reason to build around. And it's going to have to be a stable deal. So I think that's our investment strategy, is that, I can take on the deep value adds. I can take on the hairy deals here in Houston because they got my whole team here. But everybody's within 30 minutes, but when you have to be outside of town, man, you better have your ops ready to go. You better have a good system in place of contractors, of your on-site team, of management, regionals that are going to be there, and they're going to do that. So we've got a plan to move forward, but we're going to wait for the right deal.
Yeah. So obviously you have Rockstar Capital Management, and you've built that from the very beginning as well. And they oversee your properties, right? They're managing your properties. So if you are to go outside of Houston, the Houston market, then that's another reason why you have to go bigger, and look at the scalability to be able to kind of I guess bring your management team or pieces of them to that market, right? So I mean, so you're looking at San Antonio, you're looking at Dallas. Is there, besides the obvious, and these markets in Texas, they're strong markets, and what other reasons to attract you to those markets?
I think there's opportunities there. I think what we do things a little bit differently. I think we've got a great strategy. I think we've got a great social media presence. I think we understand lead management better than most people that are in my position, most of my peers. I mean, we're going head to head with the big players. We're going ahead against Greystar, against Camden. I mean, who do you think is ranked next to me on the top 1% of resident satisfaction? Those guys. The problem is they have how many hundreds of apartment complexes? If you figure in the number of 1% properties that they have versus the number of hundreds of apartments deals that they have, it's like they're under like 5%. I'm more like at 4 out of 18 of my deals, right? And actually 4 out of 16 of the ones that were eligible at the time. That's 25% of my portfolio is ranked in the top 1%. Right? So it's very different than those guys, right? So I think we've got a secret sauce. I think we've got a good business model. I think we have expansion opportunities. I think we can get some, we just got to find the right deals to take advantage of the economies of scale. But I think we bring a certain strategy and competency to the table that is not there in some other companies. And with that, that's huge for my company because that's going to be growth opportunities for us. That's advancement opportunities for us. And everybody's going to win. Everybody's going to get to the top of the mountain. But you got to challenge yourself. You got to go out there. I figured out Houston, and we don't have it all figured out, but we're learning. We need more challenges. We got to grow. We're going to become a regional presence.
There you go. I like that. So what do you see going on with Houston? I mean, we asked this, multiple times, on many shows, but we don't know what's going to happen, right? We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You can say is going to crash. You can say is we're just going to have a little bit of a softening. What do you see, in your eyes?
I think you have to look at the economy. I think you have to look at the national politics. I think you have to understand where the waves are. Dallas is very financial based, right? Houston has a lot more oil and gas, but Houston's done a really good job of diversification. The port has expanded tremendously. There's a tremendous education group here. The medical has expanded. So back in the day in the 80s when the crash occurred here in Houston, it's because there was a one-legged stool. And when it went under, everything went under. You had deals that were just freshly minted, trading, 10 years later, they're going for $15,000 a door. I mean, and they were minted 10 years earlier, brand new, I think the long-term, I think Texas as a whole is looking really strong against the national picture. The job growth is strong. I think in Houston, you've got to protect yourself a little bit. You've got to know where to invest, where not to invest. You got to be careful with the chemical markets. But I think if you focus in those areas where the medical is going to be medical, man. You got the baby boomers are just getting older. You got people that are getting sick. They got, that's only going to fuel medical. I think oil is going to be really strong for us. I think the current administration has put us in a good position to be, a self-provider of our own oil, which means that we can help dictate pricing. You pay attention to some of the things that are going on. Outside of factors are trying to reduce the price, and it's still coming up. It's much higher today than what I think people would have imagined. I think as long as we have that kind of, as long as you can read the tea leaves, I think you'll know where to go. Dallas is in a great spot because of the banking. Banking is going to be strong. I'm okay with the restrictions they have now because you don't need to add steroids to a really good system. It's a really strong market. I think they're going to be strong long term. I think San Antonio. I mean, you've got tourism. San Antonio goes the way of the economy. It really does. It doesn't really matter as much of the price of oil, in my opinion. I just think that if everybody has a job, they're going to want some R&R. They're going to want to relax. I think they have a little bit of a military presence as well. So as long, I think we're very strong military right now. We've got the right kind of or we have the administration that supports a strong military. Right now, we've got an administration that supports a space program. So that's helping Houston, where maybe in the previous administration, it was a weak space program. That helps that coastal area a little bit too as well. So I think chemical markets are a little tighter in Houston because, oil is a byproduct oil is an ingredient for what they make. And the more expensive that is, then it hurts them a little bit on the profitability. But, they're coming up with new technologies to be able to overcome that. I'm very bullish overall as the market because I don't think you can go wrong if you're paying attention buying multifamily real estate. I think rates are still, I just got off of the market right now. Off a conference call on a deal we're going to close in January. And I got terms at 4.35%. 4.35%.
Wow, still? Wow.
Now, it's not a permanent deal. I'm going to do a little bit of a riverboat gambler. And it's more of a semi-permanent type deal where there's a little bit of recourse to me, but that's part of it. I need that to get the returns that I need. And it forces me to operate better, right? To make sure that I don't sit on, it's a permanent deal. I can't lose my house or I can't lose my car. That's not how you got to think, man. You got to go into it confident and strong with a good business plan. We've added some key people to our organization that are going to help make sure that those deals stay on track and hit those performance. But I think everything goes back to financing as well, and if you look at that, it's not going to stay like that forever. Right. So I think you're still in a position where, you got a lot of people that have glass, the glass is half full, half empty. And while you're pondering on whether the glass is half full or half empty, I've already drank the water.
I love that.
Because you got, and I know you're a big Grant Cardone fan, that's where that comes from. You got to act, man. You can't sit there and kick tires. You got to act and you deal with the hand that you got, and you're going to make some mistakes, but that's where the growth is. That's where you learn. I've made a few mistakes. I've made a lot of personal mistakes. And I'm going to fix those. You know what I mean? And so it's like, but you got to go and try. You got to go and try and do what you got to do. As Grant's a big guy, just do it. Right. And then that's true. As you're sitting there pondering whether or not I should go or not, the opportunity's gone. I think if you're a true real estate investor, you believe in yourself as an operator, it's a good market. 5 years, 10 years, you're going to wish you had bought that deal. Exactly. Everybody knows here right now, it's not going to get any cheaper. Business materials are up. Labor's through the roof right now. We're having to get really creative on where we find our new staff. It's not traditional. It's hard to pick them from another company, even though they have experience because it's super expensive. But you got to figure out, okay, do I want expensive or do I want to go low dollar because they came from a separate industry, right? That I have to do more of that work. I've got to educate them. and that's okay if you have that time. So I just think, that overall real estate's a great play. Long-term, that's where you're going to get, especially as an investor, you back the jockey, not the horse. Absolutely. And if you find the right guy, then as most of my people are re-up investors, they know that our business model, they know we're going to try, they know we have a whatever it takes attitude and we're going to fix it. So real estate's the key, I think, going long-term, multifamily real estate.
Yeah. And that's one of the beauties of investing in multifamily, as a passive investor is you don't have to be great at operations. You can just tap into somebody else's great operations and great skill set and great experience and, get great returns. That's one of the beauty, side of things, so I really like that, where you don't have to go out there and do it yourself, So Robert, it's time for our nuggets of wealth. And these are questions that I ask every week, and hopefully they are able to help them out. So question number one, what is a good tool, source, or platform that you use almost every day that can also help others?
Number one, you got to network. I don't have a specific tool, or anything like that. I think you got to pick up the phone and call people. I try to make it a point to call brokers every day and shake that broker tree and see what falls out. Because you never know. I mean, there was a deal that I had, one of the deals that we just expanded to, deal number 17. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I called the right day. He's like, hey, as a matter of fact, this guy came to me for BOV. Would you be interested? I go, absolutely. I went to go tour it that day and I offered in the parking lot. Never hit the street. All because I decided to pick up the phone and call that broker. So I think every day you do yourself a favor by picking up the phone and networking with people. And if somebody's busy, find another one. Somebody's busy, find another one. You know, no one's going to put it to you on a silver platter. You got to pick up that phone. If you want to stay in bed all day, you want to stay in your day job, you want to stay in whatever, you're never going to grow. You have to decide you want to grow. Either you're in it or you're not. I think you need to surround yourself with, I'm not a big reader per se, because I can't keep focused. I got a little bit of adult ADD in me. I've been like that since college. I wish there was podcasts back in the day, because I listen to podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to, you know, and I got a lot of mentors. I got Grant Cardone, I got Gary Vee. I like listening to Del Walmsley on Lifestyles Unlimited. I mean, it just some of these guys can just have a way with words that they keep it very simple.
Yes.
And I think if you just surround yourself and immerse yourself in that kind of mentality, you know, you're going to do it.
Right.
You're going to do it. I think if you dream, you know, people talk about the secret. There is no secret. It's get up and work. But get up and work means surround yourself, right, with that, with either like-minded people, or give yourself that knowledge on a daily basis. I listen to podcasts every day. I listen to something that Gary said, or I listen to something that Grant said, or I'll go and listen to a Del Walmsley, you know, speech. And, you know, you've just got to hear it, because that's where it comes, you know, and the next thing you know, you're 7 years later and you've got over 3,000 apartment deals, and you're growing and you're trying to become, you know, a recognized expert in the field.
There you go. And the other thing about podcasts is that, you know, these guys, you know, apart from you just listening, right? They're like your mentors, you know, without being officially mentors of yours, you know, so you're listening to these guys all the time, and you're starting to do things that they do and become like them and think like them. So it's like a mentorship, you know, that another way, that's the way I see it, you know? So man, podcasts are powerful for sure. Like,
Let me add one more point to that too. Everybody's on, you know, I think a little bit of a secret weapon I have is my children. You know, I've got a 13-year-old, 10-year-old, and I never would have imagined me growing up, going to a YouTube video and watching other people play video games. Like, when I can go out and do it myself, right? But that's not the generation we're in anymore. They go and they watch it like an online tutorial, and they pick up and they like listening to it. I hate it because a couple bad words here and there, but that's where the world is.
Yep.
And the more you get better at this today, the more you're going to, because that's the world they're growing up in. That's the world that they're going to be able to relate to, right? And so I think it's important to understand where they are, because those people are the people, and people like them, they're going to be renting from me in the future. They're used to looking at a video. They're used to looking at a YouTube. In 5-10 years when they're ready, that's what they're going to be used to. Or voice is another one. You know, I mean, how many times you use your phone and say, hey, Alexa, find me the closest Chinese restaurant. Hey, Alexa, find me the closest gas station. Right? Hey, Alexa, play, you know, exactly. I mean, you've got to make sure, you know, that you're available. You know, I think it's amazing. You know, we have our personal podcast. I got about 30 episodes, and we're documentary. So you can go, hey, Alexa, please play the Rockstar Nation podcast, and it pops up. I think that's amazing. I think that's amazing that that's where technology is, and you've got to figure it out today, because it's going to bite you in the ass tomorrow.
And it's only going to get, you know, crazier, you know, so if you're not, you know, absorbing it today, and you're not drinking the Kool-Aid with it, then you're going to get left behind, you know, because everybody's going to be using, I mean, this is the future, you know, like it or not, it's going to be here. It's going to be here to stay. So, you know, I would say to embrace it for sure. So what was the best business advice you ever received? And I know you've already given us a ton of different, you know, nuggets, but what would you say is the best business advice you ever received?
Just do it and figure it out later. Just do it and figure it out later. Because if you don't do it, you don't get the chance to figure it out. Someone's going to eat that cookie, and it's not going to be there for you to go through the trials and the learning process. Remember, I think you have to go through. You've got to put yourself in an uncomfortable position. Because if you don't expect to get what everybody else has. I walked away from a 6-figure job and walked into 30-some thousand a year in that very first deal, because I needed to commit myself to it. Before long, it grew and it grew and it grew. But if I didn't make that decision to walk away from my comfort zone, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And if I'm not where I'm at today, then the people around me wouldn't be where they're at either. Life is a huge domino effect. And to the victor go the spoils. You have to be willing to risk. This means if you're uncomfortable, you're not sure, it looks right, but I'm not, I don't know. Just do it. Just do it. Figure it out. You'll learn your lessons. You know, that's why it's so important to me to document these our meetings that we're having, and document, you know, business calls and whatever. You know, what I can't see today is going to be so obvious to me in 5 years when I look back to it. You know, and I think that's going to be it's going to be fun to watch and see how this was the biggest problem we had in the world until this happened, until that happened. I think that's the biggest one. I think you need to do, and then you need to trust yourself. If you're in a position to think like this, then you're probably in a position to win, but you got to believe in yourself to do it.
Man, that's really, really good advice. You know, just do it and figure it out later. You know, I really like that. So everybody out there listening, you know, there it is right there. You know, you'll figure it out. So you got to make sure you take action. So what do you see Rockstar Capital in the next 5 years?
I think it's being the most recognized name in the state of Texas for property management. I see us blowing up. I see us getting to over 10,000 units. I see us continuing to win awards. I see us to continue to push the envelope and lead the market. I think our name is just now getting out. We've been doing this slowly and prodding, and it's not until now that we decided to show the world who we are. I'm very excited. It's not just for me. It's certainly for my team. I've got some hard workers, man. I mean, I've got a 27-year-old vice president of operations. You know, I've got a 22-year-old that's a regional manager, and people are listening to like, wait, what? She runs how many deals? I'll put her up against anybody, because that girl's not going to quit. That girl goes home and she gets on her computer and she figures out a solution. And I hired her when she was 18, just like I hired her sister, and who's now my VP of operations. You know, you got to surround yourself with people that have heart, because heart never goes away. Talent is only talent if it's used. Heart doesn't go away. I can't teach you heart. I can teach you how to operate an apartment complex. I can teach you how to think like I do, but I can't teach you to get up in the morning and bust your ass. You got to want to do that. I can't teach you to not walk away when it gets tough. That's internal to you, right? And so I think we're going to continue to grow. I think we're making moves right now from our asset management and investment side, which we'll be talking about in the next 30 to 60 days, that are going to help add another dimension to our company, a sorely needed dimension. I think that we're going to continue to push the envelope with our marketing and our media group. You know, among my peers, I'm the only one that has something like that. It's because I committed the money to do it. You know, I personally take a pay cut when we bring on somebody, right? And that's okay, because I need them today for us to be around tomorrow. Some people don't see that yet, man. But it's like, if you think there's a chance that you're not going to be around tomorrow, you got to figure out a way to put yourself out of business, and then figure out right now what the solution is against that weakness. And everyone here, you put yourself out of business when you're not visible.
Yeah. Has anybody ever told you that you have like some Gary V / Grant Cardone in you? I mean, because
it's funny you said that. You know, I do watch them, but some people have told me that I do it better than them. You know, and it's a huge compliment, because those guys are amazing. I've actually had a chance to visit with both of them. I think we got to see each other there at the Dallas seminar. I got a chance to actually have a 30-minute consultation with Grant one day, and you know, it was really interesting because I don't think he was expecting to meet me. I think he was a little surprised at my level of competency and what we had, and I actually think he's a little bit intimidated. Gary has no intimidation. Gary's doing his own thing, but Gary just wants you to find the best you. You know, and you can be a guy making $36,000 but be happy as life because you get the barbecue every day and watch your soccer games with your kids.
Barbecue every day.
You know, or you can make $500,000 pursuing your passion, which could be collecting Smurfs, and selling them on eBay. He doesn't really care. He just wants you to do what you want to do. And so I just think that, I think what I bring to the table there is that I understand people. I recognize that everybody needs to win if you're going to win, and they really need to win first, because that's the only way that you're going to win. They've got to be committed to you. I mean, remember, it's just a job from a lot of people, and if you don't show them that it's more than that, if you don't show them that there's a career here, if you don't show them that there's opportunities, and not just opportunities to hit retirement like everybody else, like they can actually grow. I want everybody in my company to learn how to buy real estate. I do. I'm not afraid they're going to leave me. They're not going to leave me. They're not, because I'm going to show them what they need. I'm going to invest in them. And some are a little further down the map than others, and that's okay. They're in a different spot. They'll all get there. Some people need to maybe learn how to get out of debt first. We'll figure that out. Some people are ready to buy their first house because they're out of debt. Some people are ready to invest in their first apartment deal. We're going to win together. We got to create a family atmosphere. And that's going to be the toughest challenge. You haven't asked that question, but the toughest challenge as we grow is maintaining that culture, maintaining that family atmosphere, to make sure that I don't get too removed. And I think the last 6-12 months, I've gone through some personal stuff that I've had to go through, and I haven't been as involved as I want, but I'm kind of awake right now, and I'm going to get back to where I need to be and lead this company with the same spirit and the energy that we had before. But thank you very much. It's a really huge compliment comparing me to those guys. Those guys are the best. They really are. I think they come from the right place, and they're so open with their information, and I just want to try to emulate and try to be open like they are.
Yeah, and apart from that, they're hugely successful, and they dominate. They don't stop. Those guys don't like to lose, and you don't like to lose. So that's another key element there as well.
Thank you.
Robert, at the end of your life, how do you want to be remembered?
Man, I think we all have a legacy. And I think you're right now, success is really, truly my duty. It's duty to everybody around me, to when I want to be the guy that was considered generous, hard, but fair, and that everybody went with the play for. That's all. I think if people get up every morning, they know that you're depending on them, and they come to play for you. Isn't that really the ultimate compliment when they put their whatever they want behind what they think you need? And I think I do that because I try to do that for them. I think life is a team. Life is about being in a team, and I think that's why people are married. They get into a partnership. They team up with somebody. The ride or die, word that you hear. I think it's so true. But what if you could expand that ride or die into a group of ride or dies? What if you can go into the forest with 10 people, not having a map, but holding each other's hand? You're probably more likely to get out of that forest and find the light on the other side than if you go alone or even with 1 or 2 people. And that's my mentality, is that I want to win with everybody. It's a group win, not an individual win. I don't care. Most of those awards that we talked about earlier, they're not my awards. I've got maybe 3 of them. The rest are team awards, which to me is everything. And we're not even talking about the resident satisfaction recognition or the HBJ, Fast 100, none of that stuff. These are just true awards because those are awarded based on a team atmosphere, based on team merit. It's not the Robert show. I'm a cog in the wheel and I do what I'm supposed to do, but it's the Rockstar Capital.
Love that, man. That's awesome. That's some really, really good points there that you said. So I love that. So Robert, last but not least, where can Commit to Wealth Nation go to contact you and find out more about your company and contact you and reach out to you?
Absolutely. So our website is rockstar-capital.com. That's rockstar-capital, CAPITAL. On there, you can see all of our properties. You can see all of our videos. There's a contact us. You can get a hold of me. If you're interested in investing, that's a separate conversation, but you can definitely be on that. You can get a hold of me and I'll return your phone call or email or tell you there's availability there.
Okay. Well, then you guys heard that. So make sure you contact him if you have any questions or if you'd like to know more about what he's doing. So Robert, it was a pleasure to have you on. I really do appreciate it. And I really do, value your advice here. And I'm sure that my listeners will as well. And so I wish you continued success.
Juan, it was an honor to be on your show. Congratulations. All the success to you and your promotion of your product as well.
Thank you so much.